You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the 7 and a Hook Podcast, the world's premier sports betting podcast. Your source for the best information and insight when it comes to sports wagering. We cover it all because you bet on it all. So let's head up to the studio and get this show rolling.
Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the 7 and a Hook Podcast. I am Brooksie, the Irish Insider. Hey, I hope everyone's having a great day. More importantly, I hope everyone had a great day yesterday, and I hope you were able to tune in to my last couple podcasts where I talked some college football. Why? Because those picks went 10-6 against the spread. Yep, 10-6 against the spread, college football. More importantly, my three top plays all hit yesterday. That was Arkansas laying 14. Well, they covered that game easily as they beat Missouri 34-17. I had South Alabama Jaguars. Yeah, who? The South Alabama Jaguars getting 15 points against Coastal Carolina. They covered that game easily. And then I had North Carolina getting 6 and a hook against North Carolina State. Listen, I hope everybody's been tuning in, and I hope you've been taking our picks and go cashing some ticks. All right, so yesterday with 10-6 overall in college football the last couple of days, what does that take my overall record on air that's documented? It takes it to 167, 104, and 3 against the spread. 167, 104, and 3 against the spread. I've been saying it for a long time. I am the hottest handicapper in the nation. So listen, as we said, there's no money down. All you got to do is tune into the show, play our picks, and go cash some ticks. Okay, so winning percentage documented on air is 61.6%. That's my winning percentage on air. Listen, if you're a $100 player and you've been just doing everything that I've been saying, you've cashed $5,260 so far this season. Okay? If you're a $200 player, you've cashed $10,520. Yeah, and if you're a $500 player, again, you're my hero, and I know we have a few $500 players because I get emails from them. Well, guess what? You've banked over 26 large just following along with my pick. So listen, folks, tune into the show. We're giving some good insight and advice, and again, go beat that bookie. Bookies hate us. Why? Because we cash tickets. All right, so what's on the agenda for today? What's on the menu? Well, we're going to cover two things. We're going to cover some soccer, little EPL, little English Premier League. I got a few matches that I want to break down. Then we're going to go right back to some college football. I've got a few games on my spotlight sheet that I want to share with you today. All right, so without further ado, let's get this show rolling. All right, we're going to go to the English Premier League, little soccer, international football. All right, first game on my spotlight sheet. Aston Villa on the road travels to take on Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is a plus 130 favorite. Aston Villa is a plus 240 dog on the road. Draw is set at plus 220. Goal total set at 2 and a hook. All right, Aston Villa. They sit 15th in the table in the English Premier League after 12 matches. They've got 4 wins, 1 draw, 7 losses for 13 points. They've scored 16 goals. They've let up 20. Now, they recently made a head coach change. They brought in Steven Gerrard. That's right, that's Steven Gerrard. Liverpool legend himself. He's been coaching the Glasgow Rangers the last few years, matter of fact, in the Scottish Premiership, and he brought him a championship 2 years ago. So, Aston Villa was off to a really, really poor start. They had just lost 6 in a row, decided to make a head coaching change, brought in Steven Gerrard. Well, guess what? He gave him a bump in his first game driving the bus, and they beat Brighton Albion 2-0. Okay, now, Aston Villa, they are still near the relegation zone. They're hoping Steven Gerrard can give them that boost to keep them out of getting sent down to a lower division. All right, let's look at Crystal Palace. They're sitting 10th in the table right now. After 12 matches, they've got 3 wins, 7 draws, 2 losses for 16 points. They've scored 18 goals. They've let up 17. Now, their last 5, 2 wins, 3 draws. So they're unbeaten in 5. They've got a good form in their last 5 matches. Now, last week, 3-3 draw against Burnley. Okay, if you look at Aston Villa, since Jack Grealish left to play for Man City, he was their heart and soul, and it showed at the beginning of this season. Now, Steven Gerrard, he's got an okay team. He doesn't have a lot of goal scorers. Again, he's brought in to keep them from relegation, but it's really a long-term project. So it's going to take him a few years to bring Aston probably back to where they should be. And they're kind of a mid-table team, occasionally challenging for Europa League, but they certainly shouldn't be relegated. They've got enough fans, and they've got an ownership that spends some money. So, listen, I think that initial bump from Gerrard is over. Palace is a good team at home. So I like Crystal Palace here, and I'm going under the 2.5 goals. All right, my next match in the EPL is the Wolverhampton Wanderers on the road to take on Norwich City. All right, the Wolves are plus 115 favorite on the road. Norwich City plus 260 dog at home. Draw is set at 220. Goal total 2.5. All right, the Wolves currently sit 6th in the EPL table. Very impressive. After 12 matches, 6 wins, 1 draw, 5 losses for 19 points. They've scored 12 goals. They've let up 12 goals. Stingy defense, but not the best of offense, as you can see. Now, this is an impressive start for their new head coach, Bruno Lage. Okay, he came in. He was recently coaching Benfica. Now, he took over from Nuno Santo, who had been with Wolves for the past 5 years, but he decided to take a job with Tottenham Hotspur. So that opened up a spot for Bruno here. Now, unfortunately for Nuno, his tenure at Tottenham only lasted about 10 matches. Yeah, they didn't have the best of starts. Management over at Tottenham, I think they had buyer's remorse. Nuno really wasn't utilizing Harry Kane, Son. They're an offensive team, an attacking team. Well, Nuno decided to bring his defensive tactics, and it just wasn't working, so they let him go. Who did they bring in? Antonio Conte, proven winner. Okay, now, since Antonio Conte took over as head coach, 2 wins, 1 draw, no losses. So far, that change is paying off. Okay, now, Norwich City. They sit 19th in the table. They are in the relegation zone. Okay, 12 matches, 2 wins, 2 draws, 8 losses for only 8 points. They've scored 7 goals. Yeah, 7 goals in 12 matches. They've let up 27. They are finding a hard time putting the biscuit in the basket. Now, the good news is those 2 wins that they have on the season are their last 2 matches. They beat Brentford and they beat Southampton. Now, bad part of that is Brentford and Southampton are 13th and 14th in the table. These aren't very good soccer teams right now. So, now, even though they're in good form, I think they're stepping up today against a much better team in Wolves. So I'm going to take Wolves at plus 115 to win this match, and I think you're going to see some goals here. So I'm going over the 2.5 goals. All right, next match I have on my spotlight sheet in the English Premier League is Leeds on the road to take on Brighton Albion. All right, Leeds, a plus 270 dog. Brighton Albion, a plus 115 home favorite. Home favorite, yes. The draw is set at plus 235. Okay, goal total set at 2.5. Leeds, they come into this match 17th in the table, just above the relegation zone. In 12 matches, they've got 2 wins, 5 draws, 5 losses for 11 points. They've scored 12 goals. They've let up 20. Now, this is, you would consider a disappointing start for Leeds. Why? Because last year they really surprised the EPL, finishing 9th in the table. Now, that was after being promoted. They had been out of the English Premier League for many, many, many years. They worked their way back in, and man, oh man, did they do a great job last season, finishing 9th in the table. But this year's a whole different story. Last year doesn't matter. It's all about this year. Now, their most recent match, a 2-1 loss at Tottenham. All right, let's look at Brighton. They sit 9th in the table. They're having a very, very solid start to the season. 12 matches in, 4 wins, 5 draws, 3 defeats for 17 points, 12 goals for, 14 against. Again, not having the easiest time finding the back of the net, but they're keeping it out of their net. Okay, now, 3 draws and 1 loss in their last 4 matches. Their draws were against Newcastle, Liverpool, yeah, they drew Liverpool, and Leicester City. So they're playing some good soccer. They're not winning, but they're playing some good matches. All right, Leeds. They've only got 1 road win this season, and who was it against? Norwich City, who is pretty much at the bottom of the barrel this year. So Brighton, very, very tough team to beat at home. That's why I'm backing Brighton here. I'm going to take Brighton, but I'm going to go under the 2.5 goals. So Brighton and under 2 and a hook. All right, let's switch gears completely here. And guess what? Let's go right to some college football. Well, let's start with the game first. You know what I'm talking about. Ohio State -8 on the road to take on Michigan. Points total set at 64 and a hook. Listen, everybody watches this game. They've been talking about this game since the season started. Ohio State, Michigan, the game. Well, guess what? Today it is the game. All right, Ohio State comes into this battle 10-1 on the season. They're currently 2nd in the college football playoff rankings. Now, the Buckeyes are coming off a blowout win over Michigan State. I mean, boy, oh boy, did they crush them. 56-7. Quarterback C.J. Stroud certainly moved himself to the front of the line as a Heisman favorite with last week's performance. Over 400 yards passing and 6 touchdowns. Wow. Okay? Not much else I can say about him, but boy, oh boy, I think he is going to come home with the Heisman later this season. All right, Michigan. Well, guess what? They put the hammer down themselves last week against Maryland. They went on the road and they destroyed the Terrapins 59-14. So think about it. Both these teams, now they always talk, oh, this could be a trap game for Ohio State last week or a trap game for Michigan last week because they're looking ahead. Well, guess what? Neither team looked ahead. So that shows a lot of focus on both teams and both head coaches. All right, so this rivalry dates back to 1897. Yeah, 1897. This will be the 117th meeting. Okay, now, as far as dominance recently, it's been all the Buckeyes, right? Ohio State has won the last 9 meetings in this rivalry. It's becoming a non-rivalry. If Michigan doesn't step up here soon, this is just totally lopsided. Now, Harbaugh took over in 2015 for Michigan. He hasn't won one of these rivalry games yet. Okay, last time they didn't play last year because of COVID, but they did play in 2019, and Ohio State embarrassed Michigan 56-27. Okay, let's look at today's game. This is by far Harbaugh's best Michigan team that he's had since he started at head coach. Okay, Ohio State, they can score points. 47 per game, they let up 19. Michigan scores 37 a game, let up 16. Both really good offenses, both really good defenses. Michigan has not been turning the ball over this season. That has been the difference. Okay, now, I don't know if everybody's seen, but listen, one of Ohio State's defensive tackles decided to post a video of himself stomping on Michigan's quarterback McCarthy's jersey. What are you doing? Don't give bullet board material to Michigan. Listen, there's enough hatred in this rivalry. That was not a good move. Listen, this game is at home for Michigan. They are going to be up, up, up. And believe me, they've played this video of that defensive tackle stomping on a Michigan jersey 1,000 times. Listen, I like Michigan in this spot. I'm going to take the 8 points. And as far as the points total, I'm looking up. I look for a lot of points today. I'm going over 64 and a hook. All right, my next college football spotlight game, I've got Texas Tech on the road, travels to take on Baylor. Now, Baylor is favored by 14 and a hook. Points total set at 52. Texas Tech comes into this game 6-5. They're coming off a 23-0. Yeah, they put up an offer against Oklahoma State. Now, Texas Tech's offense is pretty decent. They've been averaging 30 points a game. Even not scoring the week prior, they're still averaging 30 points a game. It's not their offense that is typically causing them havoc. It's their defense. Their defense is letting up 32 points a game. 257 yards passing per game, 153 on the ground. So listen, that's over 400 yards per game. They have a very, very good offense. Baylor, they come into this game ranked 8th in the nation. They're 9-2. Now, they're winners of 2 straight. They beat Kansas State 20-10, and the week prior, yeah, they beat Oklahoma. Super impressive win, 27-14. Now, they're led by their quarterback, Jerry Bohannon. All right, he's got over 2,100 yards passing on the year, 17 touchdowns and 6 picks. Their running back, Smith, very, very impressive cat. Over 1,200 yards rushing, 11 touchdowns. All right, this rivalry, this is going to be the 80th meeting between these two teams, 80th. Very, very balanced series. 39 wins, 39-1. Each team has won 39 with 1 tie. Man, you can't get any more balanced than that. Okay, so how do I see this game? Very rarely is there a blowout. Okay, you can look back at the last 15 or 20 years. These games are typically close. Okay, now there's an extra twist here. Jerry Maguire, he was just named a few weeks ago the new head coach, okay, at Texas Tech. Well, where did he come from? Well, he came from Baylor. Okay, he was an assistant head coach there, okay, and he was their linebacker coach. Think about that. Do you think he knows a little bit about Baylor? I'm going to say yes. It's also, Maguire was one of their top recruiters over there at Baylor. So, rumor has it, he's going to do some poaching, right? He's going to take some of those players from Baylor, they're going to go into the portal, and man, they're probably going to be on Texas Tech next year. Not only that, there's already been talk that some of the coaches at Baylor are going to follow him to Texas Tech. Listen, I like Texas Tech in this spot, so I'm going to take the 14 and a hook. And as far as the points total, again, looking to the sky, I'm going over 52. All right, next game on my college spotlight is I got Florida State on the road, travels to take on Florida, the Gators. Okay, the Gators are favored by 3, points total set at 59. All right, Florida State comes into this game 5-6. Now, they're winners of 2 straight. They beat BC, and the week prior, they beat Miami. Florida State's averaging 28 points a game. They're letting up 26. Now, they're going to be led by sophomore quarterback Jordan Travis. He's got 1,300 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, 5 picks. He's also rushed for over 400 yards and scored 6 touchdowns. Again, good feet on the street, as I like to say. He's an accurate quarterback, and he can run. He's going to cause havoc for Florida. All right, Florida comes into this game 5-6. Now, they're coming off a 24-23 overtime loss to Missouri. Well, guess what? That loss sealed the fate of head coach Dan Mullen. He was fired right after the game. Greg Knox was named interim head coach. Now, this is called the Sunshine Showdown. This is they've had 64 meetings so far. Florida, has won the last 2 meetings. They didn't play last year, but because of COVID, but 2018, 2019, Florida won the last 2. Whoever wins this game is going bowling. That's right. Either team will become bowl eligible. And I like to say they win the battle of recruiting in Florida. Who do I like here? I like Florida State getting the 3 points. And as far as the points total, again, I'm going over. I'm looking over 59. Next game on my college spotlight sheet is Wake Forest, favored by 5 and a hook. On the road, travels to take on Boston College, the Eagles. Points total set at 64. All right, Wake Forest comes into this game 9-2. Now they're losers of the 2 of their last 3. Last week they got embarrassed by Clemson, 48-27. It really seems like an eternity ago when Wake Forest was 8-0 and they had aspirations for national championship, right? Boy, how things have changed in the last 3 weeks. Now, Sam Hartman, their quarterback, he's still a very, very good player. He leads the team, 3,400 yards passing, 31 touchdowns, 9 picks. All right, BC, the Eagles, they come into this game 6-5. Now they're coming off a loss at home against Florida State, 26-23. Now they were behind most of that game, but I give them credit. They didn't give up. They fought to the end, and they made it a close game. They even had a chance to win it, but came up a little bit short. Okay, Phil Jerkovic, okay, he's back behind center. Now he was out for many games at the beginning of the season. Listen, he could have sat out the whole year, but he told the coach, I'm ready. So he's been back the last couple of games, and he really has given them that boost, okay? Now, their running back, Pat Garwo, 900 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. And boy, oh boy, that wide receiver, Zach Flowers, 745 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. But more importantly, over 17 yards per catch. He spreads the field. All right, now, BC, I look for BC to control the line of scrimmage here because they have a very deep, very talented offensive line. All right, Wake Forest, the last time they met, they traveled to BC and they took down the Eagles 27-24. That was 2019. Look for BC to kind of revenge that last home loss and take this game. I like BC in this spot, getting the 5 and a hook, and I'm looking up. I'm going over the 64. All right, last game on my spotlight sheet today, Hawaii on the road travels to take on Wyoming. Wyoming is favored by 10 at home, points total set 48 and a hook. All right, Hawaii comes into this game 5-7, loses of 3 of their last 4. Now, they did, however, win last week, and that was against visiting Colorado State. Now, those that tuned into the show know that I had Hawaii in that game. Hawaii was getting 3 points at home, and the points total was 53. I thought it was a very bad spot for Colorado State. Why? Because a lot of the teams kind of look at that as a vacation game, and guess what? They did. Hawaii won that game 50-45. So that went way over the total, and Hawaii covered. Hawaii won the game. They were getting 3. So again, pat on the back. Hopefully you had tuned in for that play. Now, Hawaii will be led by their quarterback, Cordero. He's got 2,400 yards passing on the year, 14 touchdowns, 10 picks. 10 picks. He can throw interceptions. That's been one of their downfalls this year, and the reason why they're 5-7. Now, they're a pass-first offense. 250 yards passing in the air, 140 on the ground. All right, Wyoming. They come into this game 6-5. Now they're coming off a very nice road win at Utah State, 44-17. They're the opposite of Hawaii. They're a run-first offense, pass-second, averaging over 200 yards on the ground, 160 in the air. All right, quarterback Sean Chambers. He's thrown for 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. But he's also rushed for 183 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, he's tough to play against on defense because he can run and he can pass. Definitely hard to scheme against. All right, their leading rusher is Valladay. 942 yards on the ground, 5 touchdowns. All right. What do I see here? Well, this is a 3,000-mile trip for Hawaii. 3,000, okay, to end the season. Now, they're 5-7. They're not going bowling. They don't really have much to play for. They're going to go from 90-degree weather to 30-degree weather. This is not a good spot for Hawaii. Listen, I'm going to lay the 10 points with Wyoming at home. And as far as the points total, 48 and a hook, I'm looking down. I'm going under 48 and a hook. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for my picks and plays today. Hopefully I gave you some good insight, some good information. You go play the picks, and you go cash some ticks. Listen, appreciate everybody tuning in. As we always say, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.
Thanks again for tuning in to the 7 and a Hook podcast. Until next time, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.